Hello again. I wanted to talk about. I got an interesting comment on my YouTube, and it's a very common comment about when am I ready to start reading people? How will I know when I can start reading? You know, have a total stranger sit across from me and me read them and do a good job of that. So when will I be ready? How will I know? You know, and it's one thing. Yeah, you can memorize cards, so you know the meanings of the cards. You know some applications, different spreads, and now you got to look and say, okay, now can I do a reading for people? And when do I feel confident? What's going to make me feel confident to do that? And that's probably the biggest step as a teacher. Anybody could teach you the meanings of the cards and different applications of the cards. You know, they could teach you all that. You could learn that in a book. But teaching you to be able to read other people is where I think that's where you have somebody. If you're a teacher, that's where you have value. Is to getting those students, if you want to call them students, seeing that they can read other people. And I had a great story with that. It was doing an event. It was another outside event like I just did, and this was a group of people that were leery about reading, but they knew the cards, but they never read professionally for anybody. So they just wanted to read for tips. And so I thought I would go to this thing with them, and it'd be fun. So you have a tip jar out there, and you just read. So I knew they were going to be busy, and so we just started out, and everybody's reading. And after one reading, this one young lady came up to me and she says, one of the readers came up to me and she said, Vince, tell everybody I'm going to go home. She said, you know, I'm just not ready to do this. I can't do it. I'm just going to go home and I'll talk to everybody later. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. You know, so she did one reading. She thought, no, I can't do this. And so we, I went back to her table. And we talked, and I got her to stick around and do another reading, and so she did. And I don't remember what I said to her exactly, but the reading she did after that, the second reading she did, was a good reading. And after that, the light just went on. She just realized, I can do this. And that to me made my night. As a teacher, as somebody who guides people along, that's where I get my joy with this. I mean, I'll always be a reader, but I get my joy from being able to teach people how to read, and that's why I write and teach. And to see her go after that, she was just going full tilt. You know, she was just loving it and reading one after the other. And just having a great time with the realization that I could do this. And she was on her way, well on her way from there. And I won't forget the time because I remember that moment when she came up to my table and said, I'm just going to go home. You know, I can't do this. So how do you get to that point? What did I say to her? I don't know exactly what I said. I don't remember. But I do know the message that I was trying to get across to her. And I do this with all of my students. Anybody I talk to about this, yeah, you can learn the cards, you can learn the meanings of the cards. But what's going to make you a reader, to me, is your intent, your sincerity, and you're there to help. You're there to help people find answers. And if you think that way, when a stranger sitting across from you is, I'm here to help this person, your readings are going to be fine. Because then it becomes a feeling of, I'm here to help them the best I can. I know how the cards work, and I'm just going to, hopefully ideas come to me, and I'm going to try to find some answers for them. So I'm here to help this person, just like you would a friend. And that's what's going to, and they're going to feel that from you. So if you're leery about, am I ready to do this? I'm a total stranger, sit across from me, pay me money, and me read them. Your reading doesn't have to be anything profound. It doesn't have to be. You're not Nostradamus here. You're just trying to find direction for somebody, and you're using a deck of tarot cards to find answers. And you know how those cards work. You know what they mean. See if those meanings spark any ideas for you. And remember, you're there to help this person. And if you have that type of an attitude, if your outlook on people is, I like people, and I'm going to try to help anybody who comes to me, your sincerity is there, and your intent is good, and because of that, your readings will be good. If you don't have that, I don't care how well you know those cards, you're not going to be, as far as I'm concerned, you're not going to be somebody who's going to be a profound reader. But if you have the intent, people will walk away from your table happy that they went to you, because they had a sense that this person is in my corner. This person was there to help me, and I liked the reading. So your intent is what's really important. And as you go on, as you start to read, your insight will come. Even you don't have to have profound insight every reading you're doing. And don't be afraid to ask the client questions too. If it's about a relationship, you got to ask them, how long have you been involved in this relationship? Or if it's about a job, how long have you been at the job? You like it there? Ask questions, just like you would a friend. You're not supposed to know these things. They need to tell you what they can tell you about themselves, about the situation, what they know. So you could tell them things they don't know. And you watch, you do a reading like that. If you have good intent, that person's leaving your table, and you're looking at these cards and you're saying, "Well, that was good. That was a good reading." And that's what you'll be saying to yourself. And you'll be thinking, "I can read." So if you want to help people find direction, you want to help guide them along in something. Life is amazing, and there's all these wonderful challenges we have, and all these wonderful experiences we can go through. Some of them are scary sometimes, but if you look at life as something we should all appreciate, your attitude about what you're doing becomes very good, and it's inspiring to other people that you're reading. So, and I say that as a teacher, for as long as I've been teaching, that's the biggest hurdle any student ever has, When am I ready to read? And that first reading, sometimes isn't always usually it's a good reading. Usually works out just fine. Sometimes it can be a little rocky, but if that happens, take the second one, and I'm sure that'll be fine. And you'll start to see. I can read. I just did it. Person's walking away from my table. I read them, and it worked out good. And remember, it doesn't have to be anything profound. You don't have to tell them things that they want. You don't have to tell them. You don't have to read their mind. You don't have to go there. You can just have good ideas for them. That's all you need to have. And as you start to read, you'll start to have insights come to you that you didn't have before. And so this becomes something that's just, you start to develop that. But it doesn't necessarily mean, it doesn't have to be there in a reading. A lot of the readings you do might just be very matter of fact ideas I'm seeing as I'm turning these cards over. You know, I'm turning cards over, I see this, I see this. And that's all there is to it. And if you know other readers, you could talk to them about it. I'm sure they'll say the same thing. I don't like to see people saying, well, I'm gifted, so that's why I read. Or, you know, no, we're all gifted. And we all have the same 3 pounds of gray mass in our skull called the brain. We all can do the same thing. Anybody can read just as good as me. I'm not gifted. You can do what I do. That's a promise. That I know. You can do what I do. So if I've done it, you can do it too. And that's the message that I try to give across to people. And you can do this. So I got that comment on YouTube. You know, when am I going to know? How am I going to know? I'm ready to go. I know there's a lot of people out there that's watching all these YouTubes on the internet about tarot cards that are wondering that time. You know, when is that time? When will I know I can do this? Well, there's no certificate. There's no union card. Things like that. You just remember your intent is what makes you qualified. And when that person sits down across from you, remember, I'm here to help this person. Help this person find direction. They're looking for answers for something. I'm going to do what I can do to help them out. And that's really what you're doing. No matter what the challenge happens to be, you're there to show them the best way to go about handling this that you can see. As far as you can see, you don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers. So your intent. If you remember one word out of this whole YouTube, remember it's intent. Sincerity. Intent. So I hope this helps, this little talk here. Just wanted to go over that with people. That's all.